distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Akwaba. I welcome you all to Tiast 5th Agricultural Industrialization Conference happening right here in Kumasi, precisely Golden Tulip Hotel. We've had a number of these across the country. We've been to Accra twice. We were in Tamale and in Ho. And today we are in the Golden City in Ashanti region. My name is Priscilla Amowi, and I'm honored to be your MC for today. This conference is themed Financial and Technical Support for Processing Cassava, Corn, Rubber, etc. Throughout this event, we will learn more about Tiast, the opportunities you can gain in the agricultural sector, and why you should be a part of us. This conference will host representatives from the Ministry of Trade and Industry, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, GEPA, GIPC, we have investors, farmers, and as well politicians. I know most of you have traveled far to get here, and I can assure you that you would not regret it because it is going to be informative, full of opportunities, and also very insightful. Without wasting much time, I would invite the head pastor for Pentecost International Worship Center, Kokomlemle branch, to lead us in the opening prayer. Please let's welcome Pastor Kingsley Adai. Thank you.
With the greatest of respect, shall we all be upstanding as we commit this event into the hands of the Lord. In reading through the narrative of the creation story, I discovered 4 irrigation dams that God did to help sustain the farm. In verse 10, he said, a river watered the garden, flowed from the Eden. From it was separated into 4 waterheads. The first one was called Pishon. So Pishon irrigation dam. We have the Gihon irrigation dam. We have the Tigris irrigation dam in verse 14. And we have the Euphrates. That means that God made a complete farming, a modern farming factory in the Garden of Eden. I pray by the time we leave here, God will make you a leader or a CEO of an established farming, well-endowed farming that will serve the whole of Africa. You didn't say a big amen. Amen. So then, Father, in the name of Jesus, we give you all the praise and thanks and bless you for your faithfulness. You have brought all of us from far and near to sit under your feet to tell us through the various presentation of how important farming is good for humanity. I pray that you'll open our eyes and you open our hearts and minds to assimilate and receive the opportunities you are giving to us through Tiast and Stambik and all the various partners, so that we will leave here refreshed, revolutionized in our thinking, in getting an occupation that is self-sustaining and can endure the test of time. I pray for grace for everybody here. Let the power of your spirit rest and abide with us and keep us safe and sound in the name that is above every other name. In Jesus' name, we have prayed with thanksgiving. And let all of us say, amen.
Thank you so much, Pastor Kingsley Adai. So we are privileged to have in our midst some distinguished guests, and I'd like to acknowledge their presence. We have the Chief Director of the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Mr. Patrick Nimo. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you. We have the Chairman of FMG, a subsidiary of Tiast Group, Mr. William Opong. We have the Head of Trade in Services and Manufacturers Department, Mr. Banda Abdullah Khalifa. We have the Head of Commercial Banking and Acting Head of Agriculture of Stambik Bank, Mr. Jalil Hussein. We have the Director of Investor Services of Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Mr. Edward Eshonlati. We have the co-CEO of Tiast Group, Mr. Frika Xiao. And we also have our head pastor of Kaneshi branch, PIWC, Pastor Kingsley Adai. Thank you so much once again. We will take our first welcome address from our host, who is the chairman of First Machinery Group, which is a subsidiary of Tiast Group, where the spare parts of all our processing machines will be produced in Ghana. The chairman is a renowned entrepreneur who is a leading promoter of Isopanel Limited and executive chairman of Supercare Group of Companies. He owns the biggest cassava starch processing factory in Ghana and also an alcohol processing factory. Please let's welcome Mr. William Opombio. Thank you.
Our regional minister is not yet in, but I will acknowledge him. Chiefs present, heads of government institutions, representatives of Stanbic, ladies and gentlemen. It is a delight to welcome you all to Tiast Group 5th Agricultural Industrialization Conference. Thank you all for taking time off your busy schedule to be part of this great event. These past few months has been challenging because of the COVID pandemic. Many enterprises and individuals have been affected in one way or the other. So it is amazing when events like this are held to provide opportunities for people who want to create a new source of wealth and also make a meaningful contribution to this country. The term for this conference is financial and technological support for processing cassava, corn, rubber, etc., etc. Agriculture is a very important industry in our country and a key source of revenue for our economy. Unfortunately, we are not fully utilizing our resources. And revenue from the industry is lower than it should be. For instance, corn, when you farm corn, or the current corn yield in Ghana is about 2 tons per acre, when you should have gotten about 10 tons per hectare. So you see that even the 2 tons per acre, if you get it, that you have done well. So really the income from the farming, we haven't taken advantage to increase the yield. Fewer people are engaging in agribusiness. And these days, farming is generally regarded as a poor man's job. It is time to change this narrative and fully utilize our resources. Farming will become a worthy industry if you produce the right thing for the right market. I've been in processing industry for many years, and I can testify that by processing our raw materials into valuable finished products, that we can tap into the wealth of the industry. I'm into orange processing since 2009. I started building the factory in 2009, finished it in 2012, and we have been processing for export to Netherlands, Italy, Spain. And I know what I'm talking about. We are building two Cassava Factory, which will be commissioned by God's grace in about a month's time, if things go on well. We started experimenting the cassava yield from 206. And we know what the farmers are getting, and we know what we can get from 206. So, as you know, I think that we will listen carefully and see what we can do. Only yesterday, COFCO in China Food and Oil Corporation, COFCO, called me and said that they are trying to get tax free on starch for 3 million tons of starch going to China only yesterday. So it's an exciting period of this thing, which I will contact Mr. Patrick Nimo for us to work together to see what we can do to make that come into reality. Tiast Group focuses on adding value to agriculture and promoting industrialization. Tiast has developed a complete strategy to increase Ghana's revenue from agriculture and promote industrialization. Ghana has the land. Yes, we have the land. Suitable weather conditions. Yes, it is true. Rich soil and expertise in agricultural industry. When I first started, I don't know whether Dr. Menu, Professor Menu is here. They help us a lot, he and Professor Safo Kantanka. So he's a great man. He has patience to teach. That's why he's a professor. And he'll come to wherever you are. He and his group. Even yesterday, I heard, or 3 days ago, they went to my farm, teaching the people new tricks. He are the people we need to celebrate. We started in 2007 or 2006, and he has been with us all this time, patiently trying to create an industry from what we know. If these resources are combined with science and technology, this is what I have acknowledged Prof for that. He has a set of team. He's a professor, so he has trained a lot of people, a lot of staff, which I don't think that even if all of us decided to go into it, it will overwhelm them. They are great people. You know, our country will make a great strides. We have prepared many speakers for today, and I hope you will all seize this opportunity to be part of the agricultural processing industry. Once again, you are warmly welcome to this conference. Make yourself comfortable. Enjoy this conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Opombio. We have in our midst some special guests, and I'd like to acknowledge their presence. We have the Regional Chairperson of the Association of Ghana Industries, Mrs. Efua Jemfua Osua. We also have the Regional Manager for Ashanti, Bono East, Ahafo, and Western North regions for GEPA, Mr. George Ameyao. We have the former Member of Parliament, Ejuras Setrodumasi constituency, Alhaji Isifu Mohammed. And we have the Regional Head of National Board of Small Scale Industries, Mr. Bashir Menu. Thank you so much for being here. On September 9, 2020, Tiast and Stanbic Bank joined hands in a strategic cooperation to provide financial support to all Tiast potential clients who are interested in this initiative to boost agricultural industrialization in Ghana. They are our loyal partners for this project. We have in our midst the head of commercial banking and acting head of agriculture for Stanbic Bank. Please let's welcome Mr. Jalil Hussein to speak to us more on the finances of this project. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Various directors present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, representatives of the various government agencies present, honorable former MP, all protocols observed. Good morning once again, and thank you for gracing this occasion. It's a delight to stand here and speak on behalf of my chief executive, who unfortunately had other clashes and couldn't make it here. It's always a delight to, as Priscilla mentioned, this is the fifth time we're having this session, and it's always a delight to participate in it. So again, as Priscilla said, in September, actually prior to that, Tiast approached us at Stanbic to get into this partnership, and their sole purpose was to see how we can partner together to spur the growth of agriculture, specifically the cassava production and processing in Ghana. We actually felt it was a great opportunity and aligned to what our strategic objective is, and also a great example of a market-based approach to ensuring that we grow agriculture in Ghana, which we believe is the best way to go. And especially given the fact that it was cassava, which, you know, we all know the importance of cassava in the country and know that it is arguably the most important economic crop in terms of the coverage and the number of people who get involved in it. I mean, all but maybe one or two regions of the 16 regions all cultivate cassava. So it is a very important crop to the country. However, we've not realized the full potential of the crop as we should. So we thought and found this a very good opportunity for us to partner with Tiast to drive the growth of cassava in Ghana. So it's a great pleasure today to stand here and participate in this program. We are part of an international banking group, Standard Bank Group, that has been in existence for the last 150 years. In that 150 years, the group has built very strong expertise in agriculture across the African continent. And we like to say that Africa is our home. We drive her growth. And specifically in Ghana, I mean, we've been in Ghana for more than 20 years. We have, reached out to the expertise within the group to try and spur the growth of Ghana through agriculture and other sectors as well. But we are talking about cassava today, and we are very keen to partner with Tiast to get that going. Now, we know that agric actually employs over 70% of our population in Ghana. But clearly, we all know that it hasn't really served its purpose in terms of, shifting the fortunes of the country from a poverty reduction and prosperity viewpoint. And one of the key challenges that has prevented this from happening is just how we industrialize and we go into from farming into processing. So that's why we find this partnership very key, because that's essentially what this partnership is meant to do. It's meant to go up the value chain and move from just production to processing. COVID, again, has presented us with a challenge, but also an opportunity, because with COVID, we now see that there's a huge opportunity in terms of developing a resilient agriculture sector. And various government agencies, the central government, private sector, have put in a lot in the last maybe 12 to 18 months, just to ensure that we built a very resilient agriculture base in the country for food security and so on. So we find that this is the right time, as the theme said, this is the right time to really talk about how we spur the growth of agriculture. So basically, we're working with Tiast to ensure that we have the appropriate equipment, internationally standardized equipment for the processing of cassava into various derivatives. I mean, cassava has tons of derivatives, and Tiast is interested in that. For now, it is starch, but we are aware that there are other derivatives that can be, channeled and produced with the equipment that Tiast would manufacture. So for us, we see that, again, as a fantastic opportunity to just empower, cassava farmers. We all know the success story of Cocoa Board and how, Cocoa Board has managed to sanitize and streamline the cocoa sector and the prosperity that it brings to our cocoa farmers. We like this opportunity to replicate that for cassava farmers as well. And we believe that the opportunity is even better in that space, given the level of involvement in cassava and the huge derivatives that we can get from cassava. So really the partnership, as I said, is for us as Stanbic Bank to be the financing partner. So for any client of Tiast, we like to be the financing partner to ensure that financially we're able to support for the purchase of those equipment. And I'll talk about how that would be achieved in a minute. Particularly, we want to encourage women, our women in particular, to take advantage of this opportunity. I mean, we know that while 70% of the population is involved in agriculture, quite a disproportionate population are women. And we need to empower women, because we all know that, once we empower the women, the prosperity is even multiplied better than empowering men. So it's very important for us to encourage our women farmers, our women entrepreneurs to participate actively in this. And for that matter, some of the requirements we have are, skewed towards encouraging women. So for women entrepreneurs who approach Stanbic Bank for this type of financing partnership, we do have some favorable terms if you are a woman entrepreneur. And it's just to make sure that we encourage our women and empower them as we go along. Another approach, and what we want to encourage our farmers and general entrepreneurs, is to try and build a system such that there's predictability in terms of quantity and quality. One of the challenges we've seen and we've observed as a bank with agribusinesses is just around consistency in quality and quantity of the produce. So we'd like to encourage that we should put in the various systems to ensure that there's quality and then quantity as well. So once, Tiast assists to put up the factory for the processing, we need to put in the systems to ensure all year round there's enough input for the factory to be producing, because if it's sitting there, it's quite expensive and it's not being utilized because there's not enough input. It's not going to help drive the objectives that we want to meet as partners. So the partnership is between us, Tiast, and you, the farmer as well. So we'd like to encourage that farmers put in the systems to ensure that there's quality and then there's quantity as well. So Mr. Pombio spoke about Prof, and we need to try and leverage on the science and technology. Sometimes it's spending a little bit of money to go into R&D to just ensure we get the right quality. And the likes of Prof would assist us to do that. But there are times that we feel spending that little money, it's probably not necessary. But trust me, it has a longer term effect in terms of the profitability and sustainability of your business. So I like to stand there and encourage all of us to spend a bit more and time and resources to ensure we invest in R&D. It's very crucial to get the right quality and quantity as well. We would also want to encourage for us to explore coming together as groups. There's strength in unity. There's strength in us coming together in our numbers. So that where there's a need for us to form a consortium, we do that. It ensures that we're able to have better negotiation power with whichever supplier we are dealing with, whether it's a bank or it's an equipment supplier, it's with Tiast itself. And just make sure that we get the right pricing. Part of the conversation with Tiast we are having is around the pricing to ensure that farmers and producers of the starch get the appropriate pricing, aligned to the world market, because there's a world market price for that. And it's very crucial for us to do that. The good thing is that, Tiast has committed to off-taking the produce as well in dollars, which is aligned to the international market. So again, just replicating from the success story of cocoa, we believe this is even much bigger once we all come together and we do the right thing. So in conclusion, and before that, maybe I'll just talk about a little bit about what the specifics of what the partnership is about. So as I mentioned earlier, Tiast provide the equipment and it comes at a cost. And at Stanbic, we are committed to financing up to 70% of the cost of the equipment, between 70 and 80% of the cost of the equipment. The 20-30% would be provided as equity by the entrepreneur or the farmer. And we can give up to 5 years for the repayment of the facility. We do provide a moratorium because once the production starts or once the processing or installation starts, we're not going to see production until after some time. So we do provide moratorium such that there's no repayment required until production starts. And we believe once we do that, that will provide some flexibility. And as I said, Tiast will provide the off-taker services. So we'll tie in the repayment of the facility once production starts to what Tiast will be paying. So Tiast would effectively pay part of the loan, and the difference goes to yourself as an entrepreneur. And we believe that within 5 years from the project economics, we've seen the samples. Actually, 3 to 5 years should be enough to repay the loan. And then afterwards, it's actually loan-free. Whatever returns are coming in would be absolutely for you, because the equipment won't last for 5 years. It will definitely last for more than that. We would provide sufficient details as and when it comes true, but this is just an overview of how the structure would look like. So again, to reiterate, we are really, really delighted to be part of this because we find it directly aligned to our vision and our purpose of driving Ghana's economy. As I said, we like to think that Africa is our home or Ghana is our home. We drive her growth. And what better way to drive the growth of an economy than focus on the agribusiness sector, and particularly the cassava production and processing sector. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And we look forward to a very fruitful conference as we proceed, and also for us to actually take action beyond the speeches and start to see the Garden City and the Golden City, the entrepreneurship hub of the country, take advantage of this fantastic opportunity to grow agribusiness in this region. Thank you very much, and let's have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hussein. And thank you so much, Stanbic Bank, for being the financial support for this project. Tiast has had great support and backing from the Ministry of Trade and Industry since we first arrived in Ghana. It will interest you to know that it was on their backs we came. To give us the second address, we are privileged to have in our midst Mr. Patrick Nemo, the Chief Director for the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Please, let's welcome him. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I bring you warm and fraternal greetings from the Minister for Trade and Industry, Honorable Alan Kojo Chairperson, who has had to join His Excellency the Vice President to commission a 1D1F company, Nano Foods, at a ceremony in Insawam. That's why he's unable to join us. The Ministry of Trade engaged with Tiast probably in 2018 and invited Tiast to Ghana because under our industrialization program, cassava is a strategic anchor industry. It means it's an industry we want to position and industrialize so that other industries can fall on the back of the produce of cassava to also get into manufacturing. The purpose of the partnership we established, as I've said, with Tiast was to industrialize the cassava economy with increased investment in value addition, manufacturing technology, efficient supply chains, and the development of relevant skills so that all players in the value chain, from farmers to processors to cassava traders, will make a decent and sustainable return on their labor, efforts, and investment. Government has prioritized value addition in cassava because of its high potential. Hundreds of thousands of acres, 900,000, I'm told, hectares are under cultivation, mostly in small farms. It constitutes about 70% of farmers cultivate cassava one way or the other. And it constitutes or contributes to 22% of our agricultural GDP. So it is significant of itself. Its next significance is the share market demand. Mr. Pombio was telling you about the demand in China. The more you industrialize, the more cassava you need. You need it for your food processing industry. You need it for your garments and textiles industry. You need it for almost every industry requires cassava. In Ghana, even the local consumption of cassava has huge potential in food processing, in food and beverages, in different applications, in pharmaceuticals. So it is a strategic industry that we can build our industrialization around. And its importance is reflected in a number of government interventions that I would like the opportunity to mention. Under the 1D1F initiative, which supports manufacturing investments in the districts, cassava is emerging as one of the industries that people are demanding investment in and be supported to invest in. In the Ashanti region, there are 44 different projects in different commodities, out of which currently there are 4 cassava manufacturing projects. Of the total projects, 18 are operational, 22 are under construction, and 4 are pipeline projects that have secured financing. As 1D1F companies, they benefit from facilitation of access to credit from participating financial institutions, supported by an interest subsidy scheme that enables the bank to de-risk the lending and also reduce the interest rates. They may apply for fiscal reliefs approved by Parliament, including a 5-year tax holiday, exemption from import duty on plant, equipment, and raw materials, and also receive technical assistance and facilitation at the district level in terms of access roads, electricity, water connections. Thirdly, so I said they are 1D1F, they are strategic. And then thirdly, under the government's new $100 billion COVID-19 alleviation and revitalization program, cassava is one of the priority areas that will be promoted and supported. Our partnership with Tiast has several key elements I would like the opportunity to mention. It's intended to comprehensively promote the development, planting, processing, trade, and support industries associated with cassava. It seeks to process cassava into products including native starch, modified starch, cassava ethanol, whole cassava flour, cassava glucose, and other products. The vision is to, over the medium term, assist 120 cassava processing plants. Also, we envision that we can reach annually 200,000 tons of cassava starch production very quickly, and the annual output of ethanol can reach 300,000 tons, and the annual output of cassava flour 200,000 tons, and glucose 100,000 tons. This will give us an export value equivalent to $4 billion US. The various elements in this is the financial boost, as you're seeing, from Stanbic, from the Export and Import Bank, and other participating financial institutions. Cooperation in training of technical personnel. I think we must give credits and congratulate Tiast for making the localization of the industry part of the strategy. And this, we insist as a ministry, that is important. We have a long-term view of industrialization, so we do not want short-term interventions. Export cooperation, in terms of off-taker agreements, are also very important under this partnership. Cooperation to introduce foreign investments, getting partners for cassava companies as they grow and become more substantial investments, so that they can leapfrog. They can double, triple, quadruple production very quickly. Because in the export market, once you deliver a good product, your problems multiply. Immediately, they want double. They want containers every week. So if you don't have the financial muscle to quickly scale up, you might lose your market, your market space. So foreign investment, we are supporting local companies to get into the market, but foreign investment will be able to help boost their financial muscle. Also, another area is high-end talent training and cooperation. There's the intention under the partnership to set up a center for training that will cover all aspects. We want the servicing and repair and assembly and fabrication of cassava equipment and tools for efficiency in the farming operations to be produced locally. So as we go along, to cooperate with Tiast and other partners to be able to achieve that. Joint cooperation with China on industrial development. This is very important because these days there are multiple equipment that can do a number of things, so that when your market has problems, you can shift to another product line. So we are interested in other associated manufacturing, which Tiast will also support. Then cooperative promotion and implementation. This is last but not the least. All partners, no matter the scale, whether you are small scale, whether you are medium scale, whether you are large scale, we need to cooperate We are building an industry, not a couple of companies. It is very important to have that mentality. We are approaching the market, both local and foreign, as a country that industrializes cassava. So we must all become competitive. Farmers must become competitive. Transporters must become competitive. Processors must become competitive. If one's chain, the value chain, becomes competitive, it will have multiplier effects across the value chain. So if you are not paying your farmers well, you start a chain of problems. If your transporters are not efficient because you are not paying them well, another chain. If the processors themselves, they cannot get the raw material competitively, and they have to invest in more farming, the entire market will collapse with the industry. So first is our understanding of the dynamics of an industry. We are not producing cassava as a food crop. To industrialize, we require, in starch especially, we require high starch content cassava. So you are not selling the crop, you are selling starch content actually. In fact, you could go to the factory without the cassava and just the starch. They'll be very pleased to collect it. But of course, you cannot go that way. So you are selling high starch content. It's the starch content that earns you the price, not the weight of the cassava. So let us try and understand and appreciate the dynamics of the industry. This is all over the world. This is how it operates. It is the content that they are extracting. So that is compared. And I think that we can, I also congratulate Tiast for starting this dialogue, because this dialogue is what helps us all come to a common understanding. This dialogue is what helps all of us raise problems that affect the industry. So public-private dialogue within the private sector itself is very important, and we must continue it, and we support that fully. Having said that, let me congratulate you for your interest. I commend you for your continued work in this sector. We know agriculture is difficult, but the ultimate end of agriculture is to make money out of agriculture, whether it's in the farming or in the processing. So I encourage those of you who are commercial farmers to bring up smaller farmers in outgrower schemes, to try and encourage and smaller farmers to also encourage commercial farmers to do that by abiding by contracts. To be able to go big, we need to abide by contracts. When they've contracted you to deliver at a certain price, you cannot say that because the market price has changed, you are going to sell on the market and let the one who has invested in your development lose the investment. So please, on that note, I would like to express the ministry's support for this effort. We brought Tiast into the country for this particular effort, and indeed we told them that go forth and multiply. Go forth and find partners. Go forth and work with 1D1F companies and come back, and we'll continue to grow the partnership. So thank you on that note, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick Nimo. That was very insightful. Please, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Regional Director of the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Mr. Osman Mahamood. And also, I'd like to acknowledge Professor Lawyer Samuel Yao Akumia, the head of Kumasi Business Incubator and the senior lecturer of Kenya University School of Business. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. Our next speaker has served as a Regional Director of Agriculture of Ashanti Region from September 2017 to date. He was the Regional Director of Agriculture for Upper East Region from September 2015 to August 2017. He served as a District Director of Agriculture for Adansi North in the Ashanti Region from April 2010 to August 2015. He was a municipal director of agriculture for Techiman, Bono East, from September 2013 to March 2010. Let us welcome the Regional Agric Director, Reverend John Menu. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Honorable Regional Minister, His Representative, Honorable former MP present, the clergy, our revered chiefs and queen mothers present, national and regional directors of department present, regional heads of department, research scientists and academia, our hard-working organizers, our gallant farmers present, invited guests, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol duly observed. The agricultural sector is a major concern for our social economic development as a country. This is because it contributes significantly to our GDP and industrial development. Per my experience as an agric director in the Ashanti region, I have realized that the socioeconomic development of the Ashanti region partly depends on how rapid we can develop the agric sector. The government of Ghana, in an effort to industrializing agriculture in the country, launched the Planting for Food and Job, PFJ, initiative in 2017, which seeks to increase productivity and also to promote other economically viable tree crops in the region, such as cashew, oil palm, coconut, mango, and coffee, under the Planting for Export and Rural Development module. The food crops model, performance in terms of farmers' participation witnessed a sharp increase from 2017 up to 2020. In 2017, the region target for the region was to reach 20,000 farmers, and by the end of the year, the region exceeded target to 20,459, made out of 13,635 male farmers and 6,824 female farmers. In 2018, the target was to reach out to 80,000 farmers. And by the end of the year, the region again hit the target to 133,152 farmers, made out of 102,075 male farmers and 31,077 female farmers. In the year 2019, the target was 160,000 farmers, of which 267,605 was reached, made up of 195,320 male farmers and 72,285 female farmers. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2020, in the midst of COVID, our target was to reach 300,000 farmers. And by the end of the year, the region recorded 290,313, made up of 219,618,000 male farmers and 70,695 female farmers. It is indeed gratifying to know that through this remarkable achievement, the region is in the right path to agricultural industrialization. Currently, the region is exporting food commodities such as maize, plantain, cassava, etc. to neighboring countries. The construction of 1D, 1F, and also 1D, 1 warehouse cannot be left out in our quest to agricultural industrialization. The region has benefited from 12 warehouses under the One District, One Warehouse policy, of which 5 are fully completed in Ejura, Sechidumasi, Ahafoano Southeast, Sechere Central, and Sechere Kumewu districts, whilst the remaining are at various levels of completion. Under the One District, One Factory, the region again has benefited from 24 factories, which are currently at various stages of completion. As a country, ladies and gentlemen, our raw materials are not utilized to its maximum efficiency. We can add more value to our agricultural sector through industrialization, and we have the opportunity to do so through value addition. Agro-processing has a tremendous potential for increasing income through value addition and increasing shelf life and access to food security through the establishment of small-scale agro-processing businesses and rural agro-based industries. Economic growth in the rural area will in most cases be led by the growth of commercial agro-industries, which are efficiently run and responsive to evolving market demand. In our agriculture, if our agriculture is well managed, Ghana has the potential to become a global powerhouse through agro-industrialization. Unlocking the potential of agro-industrial development in Ghana and across all Africa is what this conference is about. Ghana must learn from experiences elsewhere, where agriculture has been foundation for driving a fast-paced economic growth by building a strong food and agro-industrial manufacturing base. Agriculture alone may not be enough to raise us to the level of economic development. It needs to be in conjunction with industrialization. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just remove my goggles and pause for a while. As far back as 2016, I happened to be in a team of countries, scientists, and some departmental heads who happened to be in South Korea for a study tour for 2 weeks. I was shocked to see some artifacts in South Korea, which I want to say it in our local language. Most of us know Apotoyoa, isn't it? We are aware of the local lamp that we call Bobo. We are aware of the pot that we use in preparing Banku. We call it Dansen. I saw this artifact in South Korea, and I asked them whether they took them from Ghana. Yes. And they told me that no, in the 1970s, these were the things that we were using in South Korea. And at that time, Ghana was better than South Korea. And I say, wow, then what is the secret of your development? And what they said was that in South Korea, there was a president who came by name President Park. Most of you are aware. If you go and talk to South Korea. And this man was so passionate of agriculture and rural development. And for that matter, he turned the fortunes of South Korea around. As of 2016, the difference between Ghana and South Korea was about 40 years difference. And it's all about leadership. Fortunately for us, currently we have a new wind in Ghana. His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and his members came up with this initiative to help the agriculture sector. And ladies and gentlemen, I think this is the time for us to move as a nation. I was so happy when Tiast Group invaded my office. And I said, yes, this is the time. Through some of this editorial, I happened to be in China for some time. And I saw the machines and others that they have. China too, they told us that in the 1960s, they were so poor that our first president, Kwame Nkrumah, or Sajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, had to give them something. But as of now, all of us are aware of what is going on in China. When we sit down here and say, what is wrong in Ghana? Ladies and gentlemen, I think enough is enough. This is the time to move Ghana ahead. This is the time to have nationalistic view of whatever we do. I used to tell my staff that we should have the nation at heart. This is our time. We don't know the reason why a new wind is blowing. Our God has given us all the natural resources that we need to keep our nation moving ahead. I know generations unborn and posterity will judge all of us in this room right when we take this decision to ensure that industrialization is one of the pivots of national development as far as Ghana moving ahead is concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, the success of agriculture in many other countries can be attributed to the introduction of mechanization in local farming processes. It's time for us to join hands, just like agriculture and industrialization have equally produced results. Let us put the inferiority complex behind and believe we can do it. Let us sacrifice now for a better tomorrow. Come on board the Tiast train and be a pioneer in Ghana's agricultural industrialization process. Before I end, I want to singularly recognize our Bishop of Anglican Diocese, who is a bishop for the whole West Africa, Professor Reverend Cassava. And let me tell you that Prof too is my farmer. He's seriously working at a dry. And to lay the curtain down, as far as planting for food and job is concerned, wherever we are growing maize, wherever we are growing rice, we do interplant cassava, true or false. So it implies that if we are hedging ahead as far as meat production is concerned, it means we can produce much cassava. I was happy when Mr. Bio was talking about Prof. Aduoni Menu, Joe Menu. We have namesakes. Yes, Prof has done a yeoman's job. He needs to be applauded. These are the men and women that we need in Ghana to have the nation at heart and move Ghana ahead. Long live Ghana, long live Tiast, long live all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Reverend John Maynard. At this point, we would watch a short video of the factory base of Tiast Group in China, where the agricultural processing machines are designed and assembled. Let us have a view of it. Thank you.
This morning, I'd like to share a story with you about a man called Joe, who was a farmer. His life was transformed after he met Tiast Group. So Joe is from the central region of Ghana. He's married with 3 children, and he was determined to give his children that best education that he never had, because he had very difficult circumstances when he was growing. And if we have some parents here, I'm sure that you want the same for your children. Joe had no formal education. Farming was all he knew because his parents were farmers. And so he was very hardworking. He produced tomatoes, vegetables, and a little cassava so that he could have his favorite food, fufu and palm nut soup with some snails. And sometimes he would have gari soakings when he was in a very good mood. I mean, what else was cassava for? That is all Joe knew cassava to be used for. And so there was a problem. Unfortunately, despite all Joe's hard work, he wasn't making a lot of money from farming. He was struggling. Whenever it was time to harvest, he had very few hands to help. He barely had enough capital to cultivate to his maximum potential. And finally, when the goods were ready, the truck that came to the village once a week to transport the food to the market sometimes did not have space for his products. So he had to watch some of them go wasted. And finally, at the markets, when the products were sold, some perished. He couldn't sell everything. And the money that came was very little. So Joe was really struggling. I mean, he wondered, was life always going to be like that? Was farming even worth it at all? Should he stop? Or how was he going to provide that education that he wanted to give his children? But one day, a life-changing opportunity came Joe's way at a conference just like this. Joe came into contact with Tiast Group and immediately showed interest in the project. So Joe now knows the value for agriculture. He knows what cassava can be used for. A company that provides you with access to the financing, a company that helps you with technology, a company that gives you ready markets for everything that you produce was a dream come true for Joe. So when he met us, he definitely had to be part. And today, Joe's life is being transformed. I think Tiast deserves a round of applause. Now, there are many people in Ghana today like Joe who are struggling with a lot of challenges in the agri sector. They do not have access to enough capital to start anything meaningful. They are farming the cutlass and whole way, breaking their backs to produce raw products for local consumption, which earns very little money. We do not have the technology to produce very efficiently, and we are struggling. And finally, when we produce, we are not assured of a ready market. We only pray that somebody will buy them, but with no assurance of a ready market. So, ladies and gentlemen, this morning, I'm very delighted to present to you a full chain solution to all the challenges I just mentioned. Tiast has come all the way to Ghana, and this morning, we've come all the way to the Ashanti region to propagate the gospel of value addition. So what do I mean by value addition? I'm simply saying that instead of selling your bag of cassava for 200 or for 300 cedis, you could process this same cassava into starch and sell 1 ton for about $485, which is about 3,000 Ghana cedis. Or you can process this cassava into ethanol, which sells for about $500 to $1,000 per ton, and that is almost 6,000 Ghana cedis. This is what I mean by value addition. So Tiast is currently rolling out a special project. Everybody seated here today has the opportunity to be a part of this project and to own a cassava processing factory. So we have in mind all the challenges that we face to do this. And so Tiast is going to provide the financing to help you for the project from local and international sources. So currently, as our Stanbic Bank representative said, we have a partnership to provide financial support to anybody who wants to be part of the project. Stanbic Bank is going to invest not 10%, not 20%, but 70 to 80% of the total funding needed for the project. I think Stanbic deserves a round of applause too. So now, with the financing issue solved, let's move to the issue of technology. Tiast is going to provide all the technology that you need to set up a factory. So including the main equipment costs, including the installation, including the water treatment system, the warehouses, everything needed to set up a factory is going to be provided by Tiast, the full technology. And after this, we are going to give you capable technical men who are going to help you man your factory. So these people are going to be there every day to make sure that everything is working properly. We are going to train some Ghanaians to operate the machines. We are going to supply spare parts here in Ghana, so you do not have to wait several months when a part of the factory is not working. So technology is solved, but not just for cassava. We could help you with the technology for tomato, rubber, corn, and other things. And still on this cassava project, and the best part of this project is that after processing at your factory, Tiast Group has the ready markets and can sell everything that you produce for you. Yes, every single thing you produce at the Starch factory is going to be sold by Tiast. So currently, we can uptake about 600,000 metric tons of cassava starch every year. And we can also do uptake for ethanol. And in the near future, we are looking at other products like high quality cassava flour, gari, and other products. So I'm sure some of us now may be wondering, why cassava? Why are we talking about cassava so much? So did you know that the cassava industry in China alone is worth about $30 billion? China alone imports about 3 million tons of starch every single year. And this figure is escalating year on year. So the starch is needed for many industries like the paper, the cosmetics, the pharmaceutical and textile industries, and many more. So we have more than 2,000 industries that need starch for processing. And so the demand in China is very, very high, but the supply is low. So it is time for Ghana to take advantage of this market. It is time for Ghana to be a part of a value chain where everything we produce is going somewhere. It is time for Ghana to add wealth to agricultural industry. We know the government is doing a lot. A lot of policies have been put in place, a lot of initiatives like the 1D, 1F, the Planting for Food and Job initiatives to promote industrialization. But you and I also have a role to play. We have a role to play to promote agricultural industrialization and to generate wealth for our country. So as I'm coming to an end, I would like to say that the future of our country, the future of our children, of our grandchildren, they all lie in the decisions we make today. So today we have to make the most of what we have. We have agriculture, so let's add value to it. The table has been set, and all you need to do today is partner with us. So what are you waiting for? My name is Irene, and I'm more than willing to help you become a part of this project. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you so much, Ms. Irene Saki. We have with us the head of Trade in Services and Manufacturers in our midst. He is also the manager of Ghana Exports Promotions Authority Market Hub. Please let's welcome our next speaker, Mr. Banda Abdullahi Khalifa. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Chief Director. I am here on behalf of the CEO of Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Dr. Efua Sabiasari, who couldn't make it to this place because of an equally important assignment. I would read her speech, but before I do that, it is important to understand that the export market is very crucial to all the discussions that we are having here. Without export, we wouldn't be able to achieve the dreams and provide the necessary jobs for the teeming population. So export is very crucial in this equation. And that is why Ghana Export Promotion Authority is involved in this project in one way or the other. The non-traditional export sector has been growing, although I would say that the 2020 provided some challenges due to COVID, where we would expect some dip in the export earnings. Generally, it's been on the upward trajectory, and we're hoping that things will pick up in 2021. And like I indicated, within the context of the AFCFTA, exports are very crucial. If we don't export more, we don't add value to our product. If we don't process more of the product and export, we would find ourselves behind, especially when it comes to other countries that are doing well and would export into Ghana, quota-free, duty-free, due to the agreement we have signed. So exports are very, 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 very crucial. And in GEPA, in GEPA, which is Ghana Export Promotion Authority, we believe that a lot of effort must be put behind exports so that we'll be able to achieve substantial gains in the export sector. And it is interesting to note that under the able leadership of the Minister for Trade and Industry, Honorable Alan Kojo-Martin, and his capable men, like the Chief Director, we have been able to launch the National Export Development Strategy, which envisions non-traditional export to earn us about $25.3 billion by 2029. And this is to be achieved based on some selected priority value chains. And I'm happy to announce that cassava starch, what we call industrial starch, is one of the 17 priority value chains. So it all falls in, it all cascades into the general plan for GEPA to be here today. And in GEPA, we believe in statistics. The global demand for starch, cassava starch, let me be specific, it's around $1.7 billion in 2020. $1.7 billion in 2020, out of which China controls more than 1.3 billion dollars. It means China is the largest absorber of cassava starch. And another interesting statistics that we would want to know, Ghana is one of the largest producers of cassava in the world. Not even in Africa, in the world. In 2019, we produced about 22 million metric tons of cassava. 22 million metric tons. Thailand is the largest producer, followed by other countries. In Africa, Nigeria is the largest. Ghana is the second largest producer of fresh cassava in Africa. We produce 22 million metric tons, like I indicated. But surprisingly, our exports of cassava starch is nowhere near the production. In 2019, we exported less than 12,000 metric tons of $12,000 of cassava starch per the statistics available. And in 2020, about 407,000 metric tons, representing about 839 metric tons of starch. So, I'm talking about starch. So you realize that the value chain is developed all right. We are producing a lot of cassava, but we are not processing the cassava into cassava starch. And it is therefore imperative that we work closely with Tiast Group and other stakeholders to be able to produce cassava for export. So we see this module that Tiast is trying to establish in Ghana as a very important module that with the right support and the right financing arrangement, we should be able to significantly, make some gains in the cassava sector. Now I would read the speech by the CEO of Ghana Export Promotion Authority. Mr. Chairman, Honorable Minister, Honorable Regional Minister or his representative, Chief Director, Ministry of Trade and Industry, Mr. Patrick Nimo, representative of Stanbic Bank, Jalil Hussein, my very good friend. We have had some discussions on this issue. Captains of industry, Nananum, esteemed producers and exporters, media representatives, ladies and gentlemen. Let me also acknowledge Mr. Sean Lati of Ghana Investment Promotion Center. Now I read. It is my privilege to join you here today to participate in this stakeholder forum aimed at strengthening the value chain of cassava and the products that are derived from same. Ghana Export Promotion Authority is a national trade promotion organization mandated to promote non-traditional exports. This is an obligation we have discharged over half a century through product development and supply-based expansion of export products, market development and promotion of made-in-Ghana products and services on the export market, provision of current market information to the exporter community, amongst a host of other functions that we perform. Ghana Export Promotion Authority, GEPA, envisions this project as a viable one with the potential to transform the sector into a major forex earner and a source of employment as well. With this in mind, GEPA has set out to form an alliance with Tiast Group, which is Torchbearer International Agriculture, Science and Technology, and Stanbic Bank to push the sector forward. Very soon, an announcement will be made to unveil the kind of alliance the three parties are going to enter into. GEPA believes this project will not be successful without a substantial and calculated intervention at the production and supply side. Supply constraints have been one of the many factors affecting the export sector. Let me pause here and just put in a word. When we say supply constraints, somebody will say, why? People complain, we don't have market for our products. We don't have market for our product. But surprisingly, when we go on market missions and we're able to obtain or secure orders for products, you'll be amazed that one, order delivered, second, then we're having challenges delivering or honoring the orders because we have supply constraints. And it cuts across a lot of sectors. So GEPA has realized this challenge, and we're trying to resolve the challenges in the supply base. We have done some work in the pineapple sector. We have supplied some suckers to pineapple producers, about 20 million suckers. We have done same in the cashew sector because it is important to have a very good supply side to be able to sustain the processing, especially when it comes to cassava. You need the right variety and you need them in volumes as well. Now, let me continue the speech. Although Ghana in recent times has produced huge volumes of cassava with an estimated quantity of about 22 million metric tons in 2019, exports of cassava starch in the same year was less than $12,000. The business model by Tiast and Starbank Bank, therefore, gives us hope and vigor to turn things around for the better. Now, with a global demand of about $1.78 billion in 2019, cassava starch is one of the key products that Ghana, given our production levels, our cassava production levels, can make significant gains. Now, the global export of cassava or all starches is about 3.9 billion. All starches. So we are talking about cornstarch, we are talking about other starches, potato starch. It's about 4.3 billion in 2018. Assume we can make just about 2% or 5%. Given our production levels, we should be able to produce cassava starch for export. That would be a lot of money and a lot of forex for the country. But as has been indicated, we cannot produce cassava starch without the right variety of cassava and the volumes needed. It is in this vein that GEPA will work with stakeholders to encourage and support the cultivation of the right varieties for processing. It is also refreshing to bring to your attention that industrial starch has been earmarked as one of the priority value chains under the National Export Development Strategy due to its potential to create jobs and transform the economy. Our presence here, therefore, lends credence to our determination to make the sector work for the betterment of all stakeholders. We take this opportunity to assure our partners and stakeholders of our commitment to see to the strengthening and growth of this priority value chain. We believe exports hold the key to the industrialization agenda of this country. Export Ghana, export more. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Banda Khalifa. At this point, we would enjoy a cultural performance from Osibisa Kete Group. Let's enjoy. Thank you. Ketegu. That was a lovely performance. Please, in the clear bags handed over to you, you will see an enquiry form. Kindly fill it and our staff will take them from you after the program. Thank you. The next speaker is the Director of Investor Services at the Center with the primary responsibility to provide investor facilitation and aftercare. He has planned and executed several inbound and outbound investment promotion missions and handled large-scale investment projects classified as strategic investment projects. Please let's welcome Mr. Edward Ishonlati. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam.
Mr. Chairman, the representative of the Honorable Regional Minister, the Chief Director, Ministry of Trade, the representative of the CEO of Stanbic, my good friend, Mr. Banda from the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, and Freka, my good friend, distinguished guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you warm greetings from the Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Mr. Yofi Grant, who is also away on official duties. Actually, he's with the Trade Minister. And we at the GIPC would like to congratulate Tiast West Africa and Stanbic for this collaboration. As you may already be aware, under the CARES program, government is working towards a stronger and revitalized economic performance post-COVID. Commercial farming and value addition to Ghana's agricultural products are particularly highlighted for their potential impact on improving the scale, quality, and reliability of raw materials for the country's agro-processing industry. The cassava value chain, and as you've already heard, is one of the strong areas of focus. Agro-processing in general is one of the priority areas that the GIPC is promoting, and we are proud to be associated with this initiative between Tiast West Africa and Stanbic Bank to provide the relevant support within our mandate under the GIPC Act. Mr. Chairman, let me take this opportunity to let people know who we are. The Ghana Investment Promotion Center, we are a government agency whose primary focus is to promote, coordinate, and encourage investments in the Ghanaian economy. And our doors are open to both Ghanaian and non-Ghanaian businesses. So for the Ghanaian businesses out there, you are very welcome to have a taste of the services that GIPC provides. This includes investment advisory services, joint venture partnership arrangements. So for the Ghanaian businesses here, if you are looking for a partner, be it both local and foreign, to expand your business, we do have the structures in place to assist you in this direction. And for those of you in the Middle Belt, that is Ashanti and the Bono regions, we have an office here, and the regional manager, Mr. Michael Ochri, is here. His office is located within the Registrar General's Department building, so you can visit him, and then he will assist you in terms of your project implementation. Tiast West Africa, I'm proud to say, is one of our cherished stakeholders in the sense that it is duly registered with the GIPC under Act 865. So let it be known that it is compliant with the country's investment laws and therefore has full backing of the GIPC in terms of the value chain program that it is pursuing together with Stanbic Bank. For investors, if you register with the GIPC, you can enjoy customs duty exemption on your machinery and equipment. So if you're buying the equipment from Tiast from China, just make sure your item is consigned to your company. And as a registered company under GIPC, you can avail yourself of the import duty exemption facility that we do provide.
For your potential partners, you can assure them that they can repatriate their profits and dividends back to China or any part of the world. And also, you can transfer funds on due dates to service both foreign, that is your foreign loan and the principal. Of course, Stanbic is here, so they'll make sure that you don't go to that extent. But in the unlikely event that you have to borrow funds to supplement what Stanbic will provide, you can be sure that there is a provision in our law for you to transfer funds on due dates. For at the GIPC, we believe that such strong partnerships between foreign investors and our local investors is the sure way to go for the greatest impact and to ensure sustainability. During previous speeches, you heard of the supply side constraints. This is very, very true and real. We've experienced this over the years, and let me also say that it's important that we address this gap. And that is one of the areas where the GIPC can support the partners in this program by attracting investors into the identified areas so that we can have a very strong supply base to sustain the supply for even the cassava processing industry, and at the end of the day, to make us very competitive and reliable. If you are not able to meet your orders 1, 2, 3 times, you lose the slot. The export market out there is very, very competitive. And so we have to make sure that we are ready. And CFTA has also provided a very huge market. And once you produce here, Mr. Banda, correct me, I believe that you would have satisfied the rules of origin criteria, which will make it easy for you to access that thing. And so GIPC, we will be available to help you within our mandate to implement your project to support this very laudable initiative. We encourage the farmers here and organizations to take advantage of the opportunity provided by Tiast and Stanbic to make the necessary connections and contacts to take your businesses to the next level. Thank you very much, and we look forward to the next round of such gatherings where we can proudly showcase companies who have benefited from this collaboration. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ishon Latte. I believe the investors here will take advantage of the opportunity GIPC has put in place for the Tiast project. The next speaker is a geneticist and a plant breeder. His research activities include development and dissemination of superior cassava cultivars for Ghanaian farmers. He has special interest in technology transfer and a wealth of knowledge in participatory breeding and farmer participation in research and development. Please let's welcome Professor Joe Menu Adrianen, a principal research scientist, associate professor, and a former deputy director of Crop Research Institute. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, directors, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I bring you greetings from my Director General of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research and my Director for Crop Research Institute. We are happy to be associated with the initiative started by Tiast and Stanbic Bank. I will, for a moment, move a little bit off from the business aspects and then try to respond to a few concerns and share some insights with you about cassava production. Because I believe that the industry cannot succeed without production. I was really excited to hear good compliments from the chairman, Mr. Opombio. We have been working with him since 2006, and I must say that he is one of our best collaborators. He has always responded to our requests, and he is always the first person to request for any new cassava variety that we develop or we get for the country. So we are grateful and we are so thankful to you. And we hope that all of you assembled here, especially those going into cassava processing, will also, talk to us, show us where you are, and we'll be ready to partner with you so that you can achieve the success that you want. Several speakers have spoken about the wealth in cassava, but let me ask a few questions before we get into the actual discussions about the best production practices that we can have as far as cassava is concerned. Now, if you go into cassava production, the first question you should ask yourself is, what are you producing the cassava for? What are you producing the cassava for? Is it for fufu? Is it for akpale? Is it for gari? Is it for starch? Is it for flour? This is very, very important, because if you don't know what you are producing the cassava for, you will end up not producing anything good for yourself, because the value or the quality of the cassava required for starch is different from the quality you need for fufu. So to start, you must ask yourself, what am I producing the cassava for? If you are able to answer that, then the next question that you need to ask yourself is, what output do I need? I want to produce cassava starch. Now, I remember the gentleman talked about Ghana not exporting enough cassava to starch outside. Most of the varieties that we have, the starch contents are very, very low. And so we end up not producing, large quantities of cassava flour for export. He quoted some values, and I'll share a few with you in a moment. In 2017, Ghana produced 17 million metric tons of cassava. And out of that, we used 9.5 million metric tons in Ghana, which means we used that quantity for fufu, for ampesi, for gari, for home consumption. We were able to produce only 3.5 million tons of cassava into flour and then starch. We were able to also use about 1.5 for livestock feed. We could not account for about 3 million. And so I remember about 3 years ago when the vice president invited us to his office, I told him that we are not in a position to produce cassava starch for export. And at that point, maybe somebody thought I was coming from another political party. But I showed the real facts, and they believed. We need to expand our production using the right varieties. Do we have enough resources to go into cassava production and processing? This is also one question that we should ask ourselves before we start the production. Do we have enough supporting services? Fortunately for us, we have Tiast partnering with Stanbic Bank to support as far as the finances are concerned. But do we have the technical support? How many of our farmers seek support from our extension people, from our researchers? These are people who have been trained to support the farmers, but we allow them to use the knowledge that they have acquired untapped. If you are sick, you don't expect a doctor to come to you. You must make yourself available for the doctor to treat you. So I see that all of us, in a way, we are very sick as far as cassava production is concerned. And we need to seek proper advice from our technical people. Are we ready for value addition? Are we ready? Yes. That is why we are here. If we are ready for value addition, then we need also to, respond to a few other things that we will discuss. Now, is the market available? Yes. That one I will say yes, because I got to know that as far back as 3 or 4 years ago. But till today, I don't think we have started or we have even sent out anything as far as that market which is sitting out there concerned. Now, let us move on and look at the best practices that we can use to achieve all the questions that I have asked. Now, the first one is, what are we producing the cassava for? And what output do we need? Do we have enough resources? To answer that, we must look at how we can create our own nucleus farm. Because if somebody intends going into cassava starch production, like Chairman is into, if he requires a ton of cassava starch, he needs to get 4 tons of fresh cassava to produce that. And if you require 4 tons to produce 1 ton of cassava starch, how many acres or hectares of land do you need? These are the questions that you must answer before you can start your cassava production. And so, if you want to say export about 100,000 tons of cassava per annum, which means you need 4 times that in terms of the fresh cassava roots. You need 400,000 tons of cassava. Where can you get all those materials from? Are you going around farmers collecting these fresh cassava roots? No. So to start, you must look at establishing your own nucleus farm. At least a third of your output should come from your own farms. Because from experience that we've had, and I can cite the experience we had with Caltech when we started some 20 years ago. We were buying from farmers, we were using farmers, but then when prices went up, they diverted the products to the fufu market because the fufu market was paying better than the factory. And so, if you have your nucleus farm, then you can be sure of at least a third of your output. And once you have that, then you can look at the second step, which is the outgrower schemes. They are very, very, very important because you're going to produce your cassava within a certain community, and you must involve them in your production. And so you can look at, say, about 2/3 or another third of your output from your outgrowers. And once you have your outgrowers, you need to also go into contracts with them. Because now, if I am a farmer and you want me to sell my cassava to you, there should be some legal or some kind of contracts that will sort of bind me to bring my cassava to you when I harvest. Otherwise, I will look at where the market is good and then sell to them when the prices are good. And normally for cassava, during the rainy season, from this time up to, say, September, the prices are very, very low. And so the farmers would want to sell to you. Now, go into the dry season. That is where the prices of cassava is very high, and they will end up selling their cassava to the private or the fufu markets. because that is where the prices are very good. And so if you go into contracts with them, then you spell out your, portion of your agreement. Say, I will support you to produce, and then I will pick from you, and then both of you should agree. What kind of purchasing arrangements are you going into? Is it at the current price or at the time of harvest? So that you are all very flexible. So if you say, okay, we're going to buy at the current price, which means that if the current price of cassava for now is about 1,000 cedis a ton, then it means at the time of harvest you are going to pay the same amount. But then you can also agree that, okay, we will buy at the prevailing price at the time of harvest. And so both of you will be very, very comfortable. And then you must also be prepared to support him, because you need a certain kind of quality. So you must also provide varieties, the suitable varieties for the farmer. Then once you have done all these things, now the way forward is not about, cutlass and hoe. We must move away from cutlass and hoe farming and, by the grace of God, farming, and then move into real cassava industrialization through mechanization. That is very, very, very important. There are several places in Ghana that we are struggling to put cassava there, which, for me and for us in research, we believe that they are not ideal for cassava production. So these are the kind of things that you need to talk to research and extension for us to guide you into the best way, and then where to also produce the good quality cassava for processing. Now, moving forward, having gotten our nucleus farms and all these things in place, then the next question that we must ask is, do we have the support service? Do we have people to advise us as far as our agronomic practices are concerned? These are very, very important, because you cannot go into cassava production or any crop production without following some basic production practices. And one of them, which is very key, is your site where you're going to produce cassava. We think that as for cassava, like the typical Ghanaian will say, oh, banchidie udiano bebia ebobo. It used to be, but now it is not so. If you plant cassava in your good soils, it will also give you a very good yield. If you plant it in a very bad soil, you are going to fail. And you will end up wasting your resources as far as your activities are concerned. So your site should be very, very, very good. And once you have your site well selected, you must also look at other things. Are you going into processing, or you are going in for just for home consumption? If it is for processing, you know that cassava for starch, once you harvest, you must process within 24 hours. So your site of processing should not be far away from your fields. And ideally, we recommend that it should be within 50-meter radius, so that within 24 hours, if you harvest, say, about 50 tons, you should be able to transport them from the field to the factory site for processing. Otherwise, if you allow them to stay in the field overnight, it is going to, the color is going to change, and you will have to spend some more money into it. I believe you know what ebesodai means. Yes, it is going to deteriorate. And once it starts deteriorating, you have failed. Some time ago, a certain processor told me that he was buying he has his plant in central region, somewhere around Cape Coast, and he was buying cassava from Domahinkro. Now the question is, how do you get the material to your place? Is it for Gary or is it for starch? Then he said, it's for starch. I said, if I were you, I would rather have the primary processing done at Domahinkro, and then you carry the semi-processed cassava into your factory rather than you sending your trucks. And on 2 occasions, he told me that the trucks broke down and the cassava stayed in the truck for 3 days. Is that the way we're going to go as far as our cassava industrialization is concerned? These are some of the things that we need to know before we get into it. The other question is, once you have your sites well selected, you must also look at how you're going to prepare your land. Land preparation is very, very, very important. Most of us have very little knowledge as far as cassava land preparation is concerned. We think it's about anything, we can do it the way we've been doing since our forefathers. Now we are industrializing cassava, and so we must know the techniques that we need to use when we talk about proper land preparation. Now, the next thing, which is very, very important, as far as those of us in Ghana is concerned, is about the suitable cassava varieties for starch or flour production. Now, we have about 28 cassava varieties in Ghana, and all of them could be used for starch production, or could be used for fufu, or could be used for gari. But the quantity and the quality of starch in those varieties are different. And we have developed a very nice flyer template showing all the 28 cassava varieties that we have in Ghana, their yield potentials, the suitable locations that you can cultivate them, and then the starch content in all the varieties. And so we must also be very careful when we are selecting sites, selecting varieties for the starch production. I remember the chief director for MESTI was talking about farmers not getting full value of their produce because they think that if they have, let's say, a kia or articulator full of cassava, they're going to get so much. Out there in the processing site, they are not buying cassava, they are buying starch or they are buying flour. And so if you put it on a scale, it gives you the quantity, the amount of starch in it, and not the cassava, the chaff, the water that you carry. And we must know that for most of our varieties in Ghana, about 60% is water. And is that what we are sending to the cassava processors to do it? So we must be aware of all these things before we start our cassava production. Now, the other thing is that for most of our farmers, we don't apply fertilizer to our crop. We think that, for cassava, it doesn't need any external input. Just plant it, leave it to God. God will put water on it, and then it will give you some output. For us in research and development and extension, that is not true. If you want your cassava to get you the good quality starch that you want, you need to apply fertilizers. And there are several kinds of fertilizers that we recommend. We normally talk about your NPKs as the starter, and then you follow it up after, say, 14 to 16 weeks with high fertilizers containing high phosphorus and potash, because that is what the cassava requires to turn the photosynthate into starch for you to get your good starch. Then we must also look at how best we're going to control or manage the weeds that are in the field, because weed control is also very, very important. And here, I must also say that for some of the chemicals that we use, we must be very, very careful about them. Now, we are talking about exports. And if you don't know the kind of chemical that you are using to either control the weeds or the pests, please seek advice, because some of them have residual effects that go into the roots And so, if you are not very careful and then you start polluting the cassava roots from your field, it means you're going to end up getting your cassava rejected when they go out. And that is where most of us are now so much worried and so alarmed about the current situation that we are feeling. We are looking for money, yes, it's good, but not at the expense of all of us. We need the land to produce cocoa, to produce cassava, to produce maize. If we end up destroying all these good lands, where are we going to be? I don't think we will come and sit here next year or next 2 years discussing cassava, because the land would have been used and destroyed by some other people. The next thing that we must also be thinking about seriously when we go into large-scale commercial cassava production is about the use of irrigation. Most of us plant our cassava by the grace of God. Now, most of us have started preparing our lands because it has started raining. But if you're going into commercial farming, you must look at a way that you can provide your own source of irrigation. And once you have your irrigation in place, you can produce your cassava all year round. And that is what we expect. As a business person, we don't want to produce cassava only 6 months in the south and then 4 months in the north. We must produce cassava all year round. And once that is done, then we believe that we can achieve the industrialization that we are talking about. I'm almost through with my presentation, and I'll say that those of us in research and development, we are very, very happy to be part of the linkage that has been started, and we are available to partner with you. Please talk to us. Let us advise you on all the things that we have talked about. At least Chairman, has done with us, and he's still doing with us. We're also benefiting from him. And I must say here that he is even supporting us with part of his land to multiply some of the newly released varieties that we have developed. And I'll say we thank him so much. And he is only in Ashanti and Brongahafo. We need such places throughout the country. And so if you get started, you can invite us. At least we will take just a small portion of your field, multiply for your farm, and then for other people within that area. The other thing that I want also to say is that please talk to us from the beginning. About 2 months ago, we had a SOS message from a farmer around Mankranso area. I don't know if he's here. The owner of the farm is an MP, and they were so alarmed, they came to us, and we realized that their fields had cassava bacterial blight. And going through his practices and where he got the materials, we realized that it wasn't the best place. And so please don't wait till the problems start coming before you contact us. Let us start with you so that anytime there are issues and problems, we will be there to respond to your needs. On that note, I'll say thank you, and thanks to the organizers for inviting us.
Thank you so much, Professor Joe Menu Edianin. That was very informative. At this point, we would invite the staff of Tiast to tell us more about the localization scheme of Tiast. She is a member of the business team, and her ambition is to become an industry leader in the field of business development, strategy, and analysis. Please let me welcome Mrs. Alberta Apieji. Thank you.
Good afternoon once again, and I welcome you all to the Tiast 5th Agricultural Industrialization Conference. The Made in Ghana policy, and I put in quotes, has been fostered in our country since time immemorial. And this has been a premise of building Ghana as an industrial economy. And it is for this reason we have some governmental policies such as the 1D1F and the Made in Ghana initiative to not only make Ghana an economically stable country, but to promote agricultural industrialization. Now, let us take a look around us. How many factories or modern factories in Ghana here are locally owned? Very few. In fact, I recently found out our own farm milk and blue skies are not Ghanaian owned. And sometimes I do sit back and ask myself that why is it that Ghana is not at the forefront? Or why is it that Ghana is not competing with these foreign companies? The answer is very simple. This is because the potential of our local industries are limited due to lack of efficient localized systems. What do I mean by this? Yes, we do preach about agricultural industrialization and the need to add value to our raw materials. But agricultural industrialization goes beyond that. It means having a sustainable system that will ensure that one enjoys seamless processing of raw materials. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to say is that Tiast is not making you just a regular factory owner, but we are providing you with excellent localized systems in place that makes you 10 times better. For instance, if you have a factory with no localized systems in place, how can you be efficient? How can you be effective? And how can you produce and process quality goods within a limited space of time? You would agree with me that most factories in Ghana here, some of them actually have come to a halt because they lack skilled personnel to efficiently operate the processing line and quickly attend to machines when they get faulty. In the course of waiting for these technical persons to service these machines, the reality is these machines will be there turning as liability for the owners, and this is what Tiast seeks to avoid. So unlike most foreign manufacturers who prefer to produce their machines overseas and ship to Ghana for sales, we at Tiast are concerned with developing an efficient localized system that ensures quality production and distribution of goods and services. So these systems include the local supply of spare parts and maintenance of the processing line, collaboration with local institutions to promote quality products, localized training on plantation, technical, and offtake services. Ladies and gentlemen, the brand Toyota has become a household name in economy cars for one good reason apart from its quality. Its spare parts are easily accessible, and many mechanics have expertise in its repair and maintenance. So just like Toyota, Tiast is making it easy to access agricultural industrialization services. We develop the expertise of a localized system that will ensure that we have regular maintenance of the processing line. What sets us apart from other agricultural machinery suppliers in Ghana is our local supply of spare parts. In promoting our core mandate, which is localization, Tiast is setting up its first machinery supplier factory at Dawa in the Greater Accra region, which serves as a one-stop shop for all agricultural industrialization services and processing machines and spare parts. And this, ladies and gentlemen, gives us the capability to repair and parts and replacement of anything that happens within the processing line within the shortest possible time. Our machines are also fully automated with sensors and PLC systems that are able to detect faults to enable quick and efficient response time. Our project is also designed to comprehend, we have a comprehensive hands-on training, right, for the local team to efficiently install and operate and maintain the processing line. And this also involves an immersion program between our Chinese universities and universities in Ghana to enable students learn the art and science of plantation, operating the processing line, and off-taking end product. It would interest you to know that with our holistic training of locally recruited engineers, there will be efficient local maintenance service support, which includes but not limited to conducting weekly, monthly, and annual inspection and commissioning testing of the processing units, ensuring annual technological upgrade with consulting services, and providing repair and replacement works all on site. These and many more are the advantages of having a localized system. Distinguished guests, our collaborative efforts with some governmental institutions, such as the CSIR Crop Research Institute, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the 1D1F, the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, and others, strengthens our belief that Tiast is willing to help agricultural stakeholders in all possible ways to achieve desired results. Ladies and gentlemen, the key message I am leaving with you is that our ability to increase agricultural productivity is dependent on a sustainable localized system. And Tiast is ever ready to support the agricultural sector with appropriate technology, training, and offtake services at the local level. Never has there been a better time to invest in agri-processing. I encourage you all to make a visit to Tiast. Let us help you industrialize and provide you with technical expertise with sustainable localized systems. My name is Alberta Sifabuampo, a business development executive at Tiast, and I'm ever ready to assist you with your queries. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sifabuampo. Moving on, I'll invite our next speaker. He's a member of Tiast business team to tell us more about Tiast Uptake Services. He's a leader, a public speaker, and is very passionate about improving the agricultural sector of Ghana through industrialization. Please let's welcome Mr. Augustine Isamwa. Thank you.
Good afternoon once again. I can see you're all tired, but don't worry. I'm here to actually speak about what you are here for. I'm here to speak about the money. So we are in Kumasi, the Ashanti region, and as we all know, we have one of the biggest markets in the West Africa, and even can be part of the best in the whole of the world and in Africa. But we, the farmers and investors, still go into agriculture with no ready market. And this is causing a whole lot of problems. Ladies and gentlemen, Ghana is one of the leading producers in agriculture in Africa and in the world. Ghana is one of the blessed countries with cocoa, coffee. You can talk about the cassavas, the plantains, the maize, and all those ones. But when you go to Thailand, when you go to the USA, and even China, who don't produce so much as we produce, they make millions of US dollars from the agricultural sector. Why is that the case? Why is it the case that we, the ones that are producing, are not making the maximum returns? And why is it that those who are not actually producing are the ones making the maximum returns? At the end of my speech, you get to know about it. Let's take two farmers. Let me not go too far to any big country. Let's go to Thailand. A farmer from Thailand and a farmer from Ghana. Mostly, you realize that most farmers from Ghana produce for the food market. That is to convert the cassava into fufu, agbelema, gari, and the rest. But you see, when you go to Thailand, most of them produce for the industries. And my colleague Irene spoke about what the industries actually use these products for the paper industry, for the clothing industry, a whole lot. And so they make about $4 billion US dollars annually when you go to Thailand. But in Ghana, do we make that? I'm sure you know the answer already. When we talk about poor people, we rather refer to the farmers who are actually the oxygen of the nation. This is so sad. But ladies and gentlemen, let's not be deceived. If the Thailand person who is running a factory, or anybody who is running a factory, doesn't have a ready market, then that person is the same as a farmer in Ghana who doesn't have a ready market. they all don't make the possible returns that are supposed to be made. So yes, converting cassava into starch, flour, ethanol is good. Converting maize into starch and the rest is also good. In fact, converting all that we have to convert is really good. But you see, if we don't have the ready market, then the job is still cost 90. I'm sure you agree with me with that. And so with that, I say emphatically that yes, we need industrialization, but we need industrialization with a ready market to complement it. And so that is why Tiast Group is here today. And that is why I'm standing here this afternoon to speak about the Tiast Group's Uptake Service. I'm telling you this, you would hear one of the finest Uptake services that anybody can offer you. You see, with Tiast Group, our Uptake service is very simple. When we produce or we help you set up the factory, we would actually sell every processed goods, and I mean every single one of them that comes out of the factory for you. I believe with that, we can make all the possible returns. But someone might ask this question, how are you going to do that? You see, even before we came to Ghana, we did our research. And so we've been able to secure about 600,000 annual order, about 600,000 tons annual order from China. China is one of the busiest towns when it comes to industrialization and using things for other things. So we've been able to secure the market already. And the good thing about this is that with our processing factories that can produce at least 20 tons every week, what we are doing is we would offtake everything in weekly basis. So if you produce about 4 containers or even 5 containers, we offtake it quickly. And we trust you, the partner, so much. And so we even give you a letter of credit even before we even come on board to come and offtake it. So we have set up the factory for you. We give you the letter of credit. You produce, and in that same week, we offtake it. We bring you back your money, or you process the money from Stanbic Bank. You can pay off the farmer. You can pay off your workers. You can actually use some as your working capital, and then everybody is happy. Let's give a round of applause for Tiast Group again. Ladies and gentlemen, because we care about our partners, we would actually negotiate the best price for you. And we'll actually share the price with you so that it doesn't have to be a problem with you. Now, even before we come, we'll also give you some free packaging materials so that it can cut down your cost. Now, in so doing, because we are taking a bulk of them, we would be able to actually negotiate, or we've been able to negotiate the best price for you, the partner, for the farmer, and also for Ghana as a whole. This would actually help for Ghana to push a lot of quality products into the international market and make Ghana be recognized among other nations as a better agricultural nation than we are today. Again, we don't leave you like that. We would arrange together with you the courage to come and take the starch or whatever that you produce from your factory right to the shipment, and then it's taken up from there. You see, with the Tiast Uptake Service and all these advantages that I've mentioned, you, the partner, is actually guaranteed the money even before you start producing. And the effect of this one is that if you, the farmer, is guaranteed the money even before you produce, then the farmer is also guaranteed his money before he produces. If you are the one taking care of your farm and your factory at the same time, then hallelujah, you make all the money that you're supposed to make even before you start producing. What is more good and news than this one? I'm sure you are thinking that when can we start? But relax. We'll be here for you and negotiate more with you. With a Tiast Uptake Service and all these things I've mentioned, as I said earlier, the producer will be able to get his money quick, pay off the people, be able to run his factory well. Everybody gets the money. Now the farmer actually can increase his production. We all know the reason why most people have 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 5,000 acres and are still cultivating just 1 acre is because there's no ready market. And so if a factory which doesn't behave like a human being is actually taken, if a factory says I'm taking 20,000, the factory is taking 20,000. If a human being says I'll take 20, might say today I don't feel for banku, so I want to eat rice water. I can reduce it. And so what happens is that the more constant supplies you get, the more you become so confident and the more you have all the money to increase and get more money for yourself. With this smooth and then quick offtake and all the services we are producing, we can actually make the maximum returns that is due an agricultural nation, that is due an agricultural city like Kumasi, an agricultural region like the Ashanti region. Tiast is here to help you. And as I mentioned earlier, since Thailand is making so much money, we also can make this money. So we are saying something very simple. Come on board, because this venture has so much to offer. And then we can make so much millions. So as I say always, come on board. Let's make the millions and the billions together as partners. And your name is Adofunum. As soon as I make it here, I say, Tiast Group Abba Ashanti region, and Nasi Kumasi me say ebeboa. Na ye mwa omo ye fu nkwa. Na obi biara obeba ene abeka bo mu no, ye beboa no e mane nya sika bebre. Enti ebesi factory di amount. Na ye si factory ma wi a, ye besa ama nkofo. Ama watimi ahwe factory no so ma factory na be ye kra behwe. Na ye wi a ya sa ama akade nyina e ka ho no. E wo Ghana ha ya na etimi ama obi bia akoto otin. Yawie kra no ye beton bibia de amount se ne beya ubetimi anya usika no tentem so na aboa wo na aboa me na aboa ye nyina na aboa Ghana man. Madam Ase, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Isamwa. Our last speaker is a business development manager skilled in customer relationship management, business development, creative writing, marketing, prospecting, and sales. At Tiast, she facilitates proposal and contract negotiations with partners in and out of Ghana, develop growth strategies and plans, manages and retains relationships with clients whilst engaging in other business development duties. She aspires to be a great woman of influence in her respective fields of interest. Please, with a round of applause, let's welcome Miss Priscilla Fiati as she speaks to us about the partners and customer service of Tiast. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Priscilla Mui. Mr. Chairman, Honorable Minister, Nananum, former MP, representatives and directors of the various private and governmental institutions, all protocols observed, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we really want to thank you. I can see we are all tired. We've been listening to presentations upon presentations upon presentations. And this is because we have realized that Ghana can be the country we wish it could be. It can be a better nation. But unfortunately, we are not maximizing on what God has blessed us with and what our forefathers left for us. We realize that Ghana can produce a crop like cassava all year round. But like we talk about good climates, good soil, as our multi-directors and other directors spoke about, we do not maximize profit out of it. I was watching a video and then I realized that a chunk of cocoa can be sold for a few cedis, raw cocoa beans. And I got so sad because these cocoas will be exported out, processed, and it will come back, be sold to us at very expensive prices, and we'll be rushing to get them. But I know there are tax reliefs and tax exemptions on exporting agro-processed products, or even normal raw products. So why don't we add value before we process them? I believe that today we are having a transformation and realizing that agriculture is actually something we can capitalize on to make our country the better country we want it to be. We cannot leave here without touching on the Tiast customer services that we have to offer to all our clients. We prefer to call our clients partners because we believe that together, we work it together, we stand. Now, customer service is actually very key to the success of every project. If my customer is not happy, how can I be happy? So we are not looking at just coming here to establish factories and go. That is why we factored in so many things that will go a long way to help even the normal farmer who does all the toil in preparing the land, putting in the cassava sticks or all the seeds, taking care of it from the plantation stage all to the harvesting stage, even before it gets to the industry. So our customer service plan is going to affect everybody on the chain. Now, the customer service plan covers three things. So we have the client, then we have Tiast, and we have Stanbic Bank. We know that a farmer would need some items. A farmer will need financial support. A farmer will need technology. A farmer will need technical support. And we have put all the systems in place to be able to support the farmer on any time and at any day he needs it to be. So in the initial stages, what happens is that we introduce our clients to experts of various industries to be able to get support during the plantation and land preparation stages. So as you can see, we've invited lots of ministry departments, institutions to the conference. We have the Crop Research Institute that can always advise you on the best variety that will thrive on your land. So if your land is a forest area, you need to have that advice. Know how to attend to your cassava, how to grow it and get the best results. If your land is a sandy area, they can give you the best advice. And we have partnership with them, so you get these things free of charge. And you get it as soon as possible. We have links with the MOFA directors who are at our whole conference, for instance. The directors were willing to support all the Tiast partners with free cassava sticks to be able to plant on a large scale. And this is I think it was a good initiative from our MOFA director back there. And I know the same thing is going to happen even in the Ashanti region and across Ghana, because we understand the vision of our government. The 1D1F is here to be able to assist us, maximize on whatever we have to be able to make more out of it. Now, during the whole process after the conference, the business team is able to facilitate everything for us. So what happens is that the business development team take you through a consultation. What happens is we gather information about you and we answer all your queries, every question you have, whatever you need to understand about the whole Tiast project is actually given to you. So for the plantation stage, the harvesting stage, the factory building stages, processing, all to the offtake, everything is well catered for by the business development team. Now, during the plantation stage, during the proposal stage, which is after the consultation, we make available an optional list that gives you the advantage to have some machinery to be able to support you on the plantation field. So you have harvesters, you have harrowers, you have tractors, you have every necessary machine, equipment, bulldozers even to help you with the land clearing, so that you'll be able to do the cultivation and do it well. So you can see most machine suppliers will not give you this. All they're interested in is just to get you the factory built. As to how you are going to take care of your plantation, how you are going to grow, how you are going to grow the cassava, how you are going to clear your land. I mean, that's their back case. But we are thinking about how a farmer can also have that peace of mind. Know that, okay, I own this factory, I own this tractor, and I can use it at this time. Because I know from lots of clients I've dealt with, I've had the issues of, renting a tractor for an hour costs this much. And for me to be able to clear 2,000 acres of land, or even 1 acre, 2 acres, costs me this much. But if they have their own equipment, it means they can do the clearing at their own pace and be able to have that peace of mind without thinking about the huge money they're going to pay for all of these things. Now, the next we'll get to the contract stage, where one thing Tiast capitalize on a lot is transparency. We believe that if the customer has that understanding and is very happy, we are also very happy. So the contract negotiation stage, what happens is that we come into an agreement. So you know all the procedures in place, whatever you are not comfortable with and you don't understand, we are ready to give you all the answers you need before the contract is signed. So it's not like we are here to rush you to be able to get you to do something, no. Because once the contract is signed, now we introduce you to Stanbic Bank, and Stanbic has the assurance that once you have passed through us, it means they can give you that support. Let's not forget that Stanbic is taking the highest risk. That is 70 to 80% of the whole contract value. And this is a huge advantage for all of us to benefit from. Now, after all of these things have been done, Stanbic has accepted to approve of the whole facility, and then they give us the letter of credit. Immediately they approve of it. What happens is that the facility letter, what happens is that Tiast begins the whole project. So when it comes to the factory building, we take care of the steel structure, the civil works, installation and commissioning, everything that will be needed for the factory to be built. Tiast takes care of every single thing. That is the whole processing line. So it's not like we give you something and you have to acquire something else from somewhere. Everything about the factory is taken care of by Tiast Group. And we are going to facilitate you to be able to do that. Another wonderful thing that I believe all my colleagues have been touching on is the training aspect. So what happens is that Tiast sends an engineer or technical team to support you with the smooth, efficient, and effective running of the factory. What happens is that as they are there, they train all the local technical team you have employed. They train them to know how to operate on these automatic machinery. Also have the technical know-how, because you won't have foreign engineers all the time at your factory. This is because we want to help Ghana also know how to use these things, capitalize on these things, to be able to repair and replace equipment quickly. Because most of the times, as my colleague said earlier, when a factory is faulty, we have to wait for a long time looking for technical experts. Sometimes they come and they worsen the state of the factory. And so the factory just sits there, turns into a liability, and that is the end of the story. We've seen lots of these factories not being revamped and they are just there. But this is not what we are looking at. We are looking at being able to give you all of these services, talk of the maintenance, the repairs and replacement, everything as soon as possible. That is what Tiast is actually looking at. Now, the last stage about everything is after the whole factory is running very smoothly, we now offer the offtake services for you. What happens during the offtake services is that we know that you are processing your cassava, because as the crop research director said, we always tell our clients, the fresher the cassava, the higher the starch content. And so because of that, the factory is close to your farm. Immediately you harvest, you are processing. What is happening is that we give you that advice to be able to grow the cassava on block system basis so that you can produce all year round. So you don't have to just grow a whole 2,000 acres at a go. No. When you're able to do that, you are processing on almost every day, 24 hours, the machines are running. We know that you are processing enough, and you will need buyers to be able to pick the cassava starch from the factory. And that is why our weekly basis offtake services are being served to you. Because we know that if your cassava starch is sitting in the warehouse for a long time with nobody picking it out, you'll be disturbed. You'll be thinking, why did I even do this project in the first place? And that is what we want to avoid, for you to have that burden. So you realize that right from the planting all the way to your selling, the offtake stage, you realize that everything is a smooth process. So we have experts in place to advise you as and when you need them to be advised. Now, at this point, I'm sure that we all will be asking ourselves, who is the ideal partner for Tiast? Irrespective of your background, whether you are a businessman, whether you are a doctor, whether you are a teacher, whether you are a farmer, a commercial farmer, you are the ideal partner for Tiast. We have had lots of clients that have come to us. I remember I was engaging this woman called Madame Fafape. She's noted as the queen of mushroom farmers in Ghana. So she had no background in cassava farming, and I invited her to our last conference, which was a women's conference at Tank Palace. Immediately, this woman attended the conference. She told me, Priscilla, I think this is an opportunity for me. So I had to take her through the proposal, the consultation, all the way to the contract negotiations. And she found something. She was just like, but where was this all this while? Where was this? And I told the Auntie Fafa, this is it. Now it's here. Just embrace it, and that's it. And then she saw the benefits that is coming in. I mean, if a ton of cassava is going for 485 cedis, and you are going to, sorry, $485, thank you, JDO. And you are going to sell your raw cassava at between a 200 or 400 per day. And research we did, CDs. Why don't you add value to what you have before you export it to wherever? Because when it gets there, they are going to process it. Then they'll use it for whatever it's being used for. I hear even for oil drilling, you need some special cassava starch to be able to cool off the heat that is coming out of the oil drilling. It means cassava starch is being used for so many important things in the world. When you are sick and you need medicine, you need cassava starch content in your medicine. Even cassava starch, you can extract ethanol from the same cassava starch. So it means cassava has lots of benefits, and all we see is the fufu, the akbelima and the kaklu and the stuff. But now we realize that cassava starch can get us more money than the 50 pesos akbelima or something. We can get more value from cassava starch. So all I'll say is that we realize that Ghana can be a better place for us. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, then you run together. I'll try to say it in Chi. Say, but in tema, yes, in tem, that's the word. Professor Tumika and tema, unquam bitimiako, Professor Tumika, edu a cheer, then ubetimini unconformibiako. This is it. There's you, there is Tiast, there is Stambik. Why not run together to be able to catch that vision? Let us see the vision in this Tiast project and realize that together we can make it. I am Priscilla Fiati. I'm a business development manager with Tiast. And I'm always ever willing and ready to usher you into the processing industry. You can always call me. My numbers are on the screen. I've shared my cards with you, and I'll assist you in any way I can. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Priscilla Fiati. Please, I'd like to remind you that if you haven't filled the enquiry form, kindly fill it, and our team will take them from you. All too soon, we have come to the end of this event. I believe you all agree with me that it has been educative, informative, and very insightful. I'd like to thank our distinguished guests, our chairman of FMG, the regional agri directors, the chief director of Ministry of Trade and Industry, the head of trade and services at GIPA, the head of commercial banking of Stanbic Bank, and the director of investor services of Ghana Investment Promotion Center for honoring our invitation. We'd also like to thank all our directors and representatives of the various governmental and corporate bodies for their support towards this project. I'd also like to thank everyone here and everyone who took part in making this conference a success. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference has brought light to the agricultural sector because Tiast is ever ready to help Ghana industrialize our agricultural sector through science and technology. As we end this conference, let's remember the key to sustainable development is agricultural industrialization. Please do not hesitate to contact any of our business team members in the brochures provided for you. Once again, I am Priscilla Mowi, and it's been an honor to moderate this event. I'd like to invite our head pastor for Kokomlemre branch, Pastor Kingsley Adai, to give us the closing prayer. Thank you.
All right. All too soon, this is how far the Lord has brought us. We believe that as Tiast, God factor is important in helping us to achieve our objective and our dream. Shall we humbly rise? And this prayer we are praying as a closing prayer is a prayer to close every poverty we have ever experienced in our lives and to usher us into the realities of the wealth that Tiast and this project offer us. I believe that we are convinced and persuaded beyond every reasonable doubt that Tiast, recognizing the God factor in all the things we have shared, is important in making God the centerpiece of all the things we are doing. Respectfully, once we have Bishop here, I wouldn't want to do the opening prayer and do closing prayer. So once I heard Bishop is around, he will do us the honors by giving us the closing prayer. And this is, shall we put our hands together as we invite Bishop?
Please let us unite our hearts in prayer. Almighty God and Heavenly Father, we yield you our hearty thanks that it is in you we live, move, and have our being. Without you, we are helpless. You created heaven and earth, and you are the originator of development and farming. Into your hands do we commit Tiast, our Stanbic Bank, and all of us as farmers collaborating to achieve the better results for our country. We invite you into the projects we are all undertaking, and we know that in you being at the center of the stage, we shall finally succeed. We pray you that as we live here, we cannot leave your presence. Go along with us wherever we may be and help us to start with you and end well with you. These and all other blessings we ask for ourselves through the might of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Unto God's gracious mercy and protection do we commit you all. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon you and give you his peace. And now the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, rest and abide with you and all your partners and loved ones this afternoon and forevermore. Amen. Thank you. Please be seated.